My name is Anjali Vyas and I'm a person with multiple sclerosis. I hail from a small town called Bhandara Road, which is near Nagpur in the state of Maharashtra. Presently, I am working as an IELTS trainer, freelance trainer from my very hometown virtually. In 2014, where I had also faced challenges in appearing for the final exam of chemical engineering. Because I had a vision loss which was not at all evident, it was completely invisible, and it was the very time when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. In the very upcoming months post my graduation, I had to also struggle with certain employment opportunities, and that's the reason why for one good year I was unemployed. After 1 year of my employment, when I finally got one job, I again had a vision loss which was not evident. That experience basically led me to switch my career. When we talk about reasonable accommodation for people with invisible disabilities in general, to understand what is the status of employment of persons with invisible disabilities, including the ones which are in the existing act, which is multiple sclerosis and blood disorders. And in my survey, I had employed certain questions which also ask for the nature of the job that they do if they are employed. And the other question which was very important was to understand whether these people with invisible disabilities also know their rights. Because I think if I do not know my right, that I can actually ask for reasonable accommodation, I have even no right to complain then. Most of the employed people with invisible disabilities in my survey, majority of them worked in private sector. And there were some people who also mentioned that they fear disclosing their disability because of the fear of job loss, and also in some cases fear of losing corporate insurance. The second major finding was that most of the people, despite working in the private sector, still preferred self-employment as an option, and most importantly, 80% of the respondents in my survey did not know that there's a thing called equal opportunity policy, and also that there is a provision of reasonable accommodation in the RPWD Act, which was an eye-opener for me. Before I entered the fellowship, I wasn't really aware, and the fact that every single issue that can affect disability inclusion was considered in the conversations throughout this fellowship, which I think I was very, very blessed to have an opportunity to be a part of. Thank you.